All right, guys, today we're going to actually talk about what happened after the Persian War, and plus you get a real treat. I know it's a treat. I know you're looking at it and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. This is my dream come true. You get a full-size picture of me. You get to watch a video of me, just me. Nothing else in the background, not a little tiny little box with me in it. Okay? You get to see me in my full glory. Epic beard, you get to see it up close. Looking good. You know it is, right? Right? Just like those epic beards that the Greeks had. You know it. We're going to talk about a guy that had an epic beard, kind of like mine. And he had a lot to do with what happened after the Persian Wars. All right, so let's recap a little bit because it's been a little while since we've talked about the Persian Wars. Big Persian Empire. Military 1 million strong coming in. They're surrounding the small little, compared to the Persians, small little civilization of the Greeks. And they thought, man, we're going to take them out. It's going to be easy. Taking them out, not a problem. Going to do it. We're going to send like 10,000 troops, take them out. And they were kind of wrong. Because the Greeks, they all banded together. They pushed the Persians out. Did something that was thought probably impossible, taking on this big, huge Persian Empire and taking them and pushing them back and getting them away from Greece. Not just once, many times. Pretty wild. So we're going to talk about what happened afterwards. Okay? So the Greeks all got all together. They pushed the Persians out. And they realized, hey, before we were these small little city-states. We didn't work together too much. But when we got together, we were a lot stronger. What an idea, huh? So what they did is they formed this group of city-states, Greek city-states, that was called the Delian League, or the Delian League. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. That's not good, is it? But anyway, they had this league of Greek city-states. They worked together, and they pooled their resources. They put their money together. They helped each other out, did a lot of things that made a lot of sense. And at the lead of this thing was a guy named Pericles. And I know this is going to shock you, but he had an epic beard. Yes, he did. Something about guys and great guys having great beards. I don't know. Coincidence? I don't know. Maybe. But anyway, Pericles, this guy was amazing. He was a general. So he's in charge of the military in Athens, because he was from Athens. He was an Athenian. He was a great speaker, So great of a speaker, people would stop what they were doing and listen to what he was saying. Kind of like me, right? Right? Kind of like me? Yeah, you know. And then also, he really was all about Athens and democracy, because democracy came out of Athens. Now, if you don't know what democracy is, my threat still stands. Okay, it's not a threat. Let's not put it that way. That sounds harsh. It's a promise. I will go down and get Miss Richardson. She will march down here, and she will put the smack down on you because you don't know what democracy is, because she taught it last year. I know she did. She'd be mad. I wouldn't want to cross her, so I'm going to help you out. We're going to go over what democracy is. Guess what? Our country has a form of democracy that came from Athens. Yeah. Democracy has to do with the people who live in this country. They have a say in what the government does for that country. The Athenians came up with that idea. And this guy Pericles, yeah, he was all about it. He was all about democracy. He thought that, hey, I shouldn't be the one that's the leader. We say that our leaders are, they should not be the ones making the decision. People who are citizens of that city-state of Athens should have a say in what goes on. Kind of like when our country, we have a say what goes on. Or when we vote, we have a say what goes on with our country. Okay? Now, ours is a little different than the Athenian democracy. We tweaked it a little bit, made it a little bit better. Combined it with some other ideas, especially with some Roman ideas, which the Roman Empire comes a little bit later. But the basis of our government comes from Athens, and Pericles was all about that democracy, all about it. He had 3 goals. One of them, to glorify Athens. The other was to strengthen the empire, because when they came up with this Delian League, they looked at it as kind of like a Greek empire. And also was to really promote democracy. He wanted to glorify Athens, glorify and make stronger that empire, that Greek empire, and make democracy stronger. And he was all about all that. That's why he was such an epic guy. Now, this guy, he had control, not so much control of Athens, but he was a great leader in Athens for about 35 years. That's how long people liked him. They liked him that much that for 35 years, they were able to follow things that he did. Okay? And even so much, this Greek league that they had formed, they made him the leader of it. Okay, so all these other city-states liked even Pericles so much, they said, hey, you should be the leader of this whole thing. And he did. Okay? Now, he did some things that kind of ended up not making good things for that league, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay? But during this time, this Golden Age of Athens, because it was called the Golden Age of Athens, Pericles did some kind of sketchy stuff to make Athens better, because remember, one of his goals was to make Athens glorious and huge. So what he did, this league, they put their money together, and he took some of that money from the treasury, and he invested it into Athens to make sure that the Athenian navy, which was strong anyway, which was evidence from the Persian wars, make it even stronger. So he did that. Now, this was kind of a power play for him. He took this money and put it into the Athenian navy. Now that we're so strong that those other members, if they kind of protested about him using their money for the Athenian navy, he could just say, fine, you can fight our navy. And they were like, no, thanks. Check, please. I'll be gone. Not a problem. You can do what you want to with that money. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to fight your navy because it's too strong. Okay? Kind of sketchy. Kind of a power play, though. Smart guy, though, to be able to do something like that. He also took the money and was able to make purchases of gold, ivory, marble, and build up the city. And that's why you see some of the great marble statues and the buildings and things like that I'll show you a little bit later of how beautiful those were, because he bought those things using that money. And his goal was to have the greatest Greek artists and architects create magnificent buildings in what he thought was the greatest city in all of Greece. He wanted to make it look that way. He thought it was that, and it was, because it was a great center of learning and a lot of cool stuff was coming out of it, but he wanted to look the part too. And at the center of one of his projects was the Parthenon, which was a temple that was built to the goddess Athena. And in the middle of it, put this huge statue of Athena in the middle of it, and put it up on the Acropolis. Remember that big mountain, that big hill that's in the middle of Athens? He put that Parthenon, that temple to Athena, right there on the top. And he did all of those things. Now, as you can imagine, taking all this money from other city-states that was supposed to be for the greater good for all of those city-states and putting it into Athens didn't set well with the other Athenians. And that would cause some problems. And we'll talk about that next time, because it would end up being kind of the downfall of this Golden Age of Athens, and really be harmful to not only Athens, but to the rest of Greece as well. We'll talk about that next time.